Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, in this video we're talking about Jiren. So in season 3.5 Dragon Ball FighterZ, we all know Jiren got some really big changes, right? And I want to go a little bit more in depth on some certain changes that are not immediately obvious compared to like the big brute force one, like counter impact now stopping literally everything. So let's talk about it. Alright, so let's start with the big one everyone knows, right? Counter impact, yeah, it stops everything now pretty much dead to rights. It could even stop throws. So if you try to command grab me or dragon rush me, I stop it dead to rights. That's the obvious stuff everybody knows. We've all kind of memed it to death now, right? But let's go a bit under the hood on this guy and look at some of the more less obvious changes to it. So first up here, if you counter anything before the hit even connects, because the enemy is still allowed to vanish out, and we'll talk about that in a second, but if you are to counter anything successfully before the hit, you gain half a bar, and if you get the actual hit afterwards, that's another quarter bar, so effectively you get 75% of a bar for doing this, meaning at which point you had any amount of meter beforehand, well then you could vanish out and get even more damage on it, right? Or conversely, you could just go right into a super, because that is an option available to you as well, if you were so inclined, as you can see here. So yeah, it really sets up you having meter to do stuff after the fact. Now, as mentioned before, yes, they absolutely can still vanish out, right? But the thing is, now it is much easier for Jiren to vanish the vanish. So it is just a lot easier to do that kind of stuff. And so it's just a general quality of life stuff. In a lot of certain situations, Jiren was stuck. He could not vanish the vanish, or a lot of situations with either like canceling to a super or something like that. Like he was kind of dead to rights, right? So it's a lot easier. Maybe not every situation is accounted for, but it's just a lot easier to defend himself in that situation if they try to counterplay it. And plus, once again, you gain half a bar. So you technically your re-vanish is half off, if you want to put it that way. So it's a lot easier for him to defend himself. And general speed as well. So it's not as fast as EX counter. EX counter happens frame 1. So can't stop it. Like it's going to go off, right? But now say situations like this. Like it works. The old +2 vanish, smash buttons afterwards. If they have a 6 frame jab, it's exactly 4 frames to hit, which means this has enough time to go off, go active, and there you go. Now, in like very like tight pressure situations, might not save your bacon. Although once again, 4 frames, it's faster than your jab, right? So if you're unwilling to spend bar on a frame 1, then you can toss it out in the middle of a block string, and if they're staggering or something, just keep hitting buttons, you can go. There's also the variable timing aspect to it. So it goes live on frame 4, which is great, and it can be active anywhere from about 20-ish to 50 or so frames. So you choose how long it's held, right? And you can hold it any point in between. So there's a decent amount of recovery to it now. I think it's like 20-ish frames. So the idea here is you just let him whiff it, and then as soon as he puts his hand down, that's when you beat his head in. But since he can hold it a variable amount, and of course, you're still free to call assists and all that kind of stuff during it, right? So it's kind of difficult to deal with. So besides the fact that just LOL gets everything, there's a lot more going on to it, and it's just a really good move now. Now, Infinity Rush, speaking of frame data stuff, Infinity Rush now is -5 on block, used to be -8. And it's not immediately clear if you read the patch notes, because the patch notes say, reduce recovery when the move does not hit, which I initially took to be like, if you whiff the move, right? But yeah, so it means it has, you know, less negative on block. And it's great because -5 is safe on block versus -8 is punishable on block. So before, did this, get my head cracked open, game over. But now, I'm safe. Like, it's definitely not great. You lost your turn. Even the new and improved counter impact ain't going to save you, although, yeah, counter would because it's frame 1. But yeah, so this is a big deal on more ways than just one because it's safe, because just how his general string structure works. So Jiren up close is a lot about the stagger game, right? Like doing the new and improved down L, which is 8 frames and has more range, and I've gushed about this in the visual guide and some other videos. That is also one of his best changes, just so you know. And so it can go like, you know, stand light, this, maybe toss in a DR, maybe just restagger, toss in the H scrap, whatever. Like the frame data here, it all works out for you on the lights. But the second you get into the mediums, When you go past that, you're committing. So -6, not ideal. -9, flat out full punish. So once you commit to the mediums, it's not working out for you so good. If you want to do down H, hey, guess what? -17, they could just punish you with a raw medium at that point, right? And yes, the thing is, you could always, whatever you're going to do, in the end, go into Grand Charge, which is always -2, which is great. You barely lost your turn, right? And -2, here, you can also go into Counter Impact because 4-frame startup, just so you know. But you lost your turn up close. Like, it was basically a do or die situation. Okay, am I going to lose my turn or am I going to go for some kind of counter, right? And now, -5 with some spacing, which actually is fantastic. Depending on the character you're fighting, -5 with a decent spacing, depending on whatever string you're doing, could mean, okay, now it's time to re-bully with my new and improved down light. Because you have, you know, not as long range as me, so you can't afford to hit that button up close. So you got to go for a heavier, slower button, something like that, and Jiren can re-bully. So this is actually an amazing buff to his just general pressure. So just thanks to like the pushback on this stuff here, man, like this is a whole new lease on life for Jiren neutral. From this far away, I can still connect as Jiren. Other characters, hey, maybe not, right? So on top of just making stuff safer, it opens up a whole new layer of just pressure and gamesmanship. Because yes, you can still counter, do all that fun stuff. But now, if the enemy is less than 100% confident, you can still keep taking turns because you have a very fast move that reaches from basically further away than anything they got. Unless they want to commit to like a medium, a much slower button. And you know, that's not necessarily the safest thing to do, right? And some people's mediums might still not reach. Yeah, so it's just very strong and opens up a whole new chapter in just general Jiren pressure, theory, all that kind of stuff. Jiren's grab, his stand H, is faster, 26 frames now versus 28, and that's really good, right? It helps. Anything helps on that front. But one of the things I want to bring up here, so it's a lot easier to grab people, that's awesome, but just some general theory that's not everyone really knows, at least if you do know this, awesome, but if not, then you're about to learn. So yeah, it sucks that Jiren's grab is on a button, right? He doesn't get a traditional stand heavy, but the one upside to this is, since it's a normal and not a special, normals are vanish cancelable, specials are not. So what do I mean by this? So now, when you're going for your grab, which is faster and therefore better, say the enemy wants to just, I don't know, they're going to mash, right? Say they're going to mash vanish. So you're doing whatever, haha, gotcha, oh no, I got, right? But since it's a normal and vanish cancelable, you can just vanish back on them. Same deal, maybe they're not going to vanish, they're just going to like try to do a super dash on reaction, right? Which is another way to get around grabs. Then, if you happen to catch exactly that, hey, there you go. In fact, you can basically option select it, right? Find out the timing that it would connect in, and then just hit vanish right afterward. So if for whatever reason the hit didn't connect, you automatically just option select and do a vanish instead. So it gets rid of situations exactly like this. And you crack them in the head, there you go, awesome. So the grab being better is good. But just so you know, in case you were not aware, since this is normal, you have extra tools in the toolbox like this, so make use of them. Jiren's Shock Tornado. One of the changes was added invincibility to projectiles and assists. And at first you look at it and you're like, huh, neat. You know, that he just kind of stonewalled whatever, right? But there is actual value to this. The other part of this change here is the move is no longer interrupted if it's triggered by any other attack other than the main opponent, as in the person on deck, not any of the assists, right? And this actually helps out defensively quite a bit, especially on Wake Up. So what I'm going to do right here, Bardock, he's going to call Super Saiyan Vegeta assist, and then he's going to jump and attack me. What would happen before is if I attempted to use Shock Tornado here, the counter, and especially, say, the EX1, because that's the one you're generally going to wake up with, Vegeta would just knock me out of it, and then Bardock would hit me. Now, what's going to happen is this. I can tank through the assist hit, and then when Bardock finally connects with me, I still get the counter off, which is not how that would have worked before. So it gives a very strong defensive layer to it that you can ignore all the assist garbage going on. It only cares about the point character. And keep in mind, Shock Tornado, unlike Counter Impact, if you get got, you're done. There's no vanishing out. There's no trying to be cute to escape it. You are dead to rights. And just something as simple as EX Counter. can lead to a hideous chunk of change. That's 40% effectively just for getting that off, right? So it's not something to be messed around with. So on paper, it doesn't read much, but it actually just makes this strong defensive move all the stronger yet. His stand S, his special Ki Blast, because his Ki Blast is a little bit different than everyone else's, as it can also stop super dashes, which normally people can't do. A couple exceptions, but for the most part not going to happen. Even Broly himself, Broly can't stop a super dash from happening. Jiren can. So the big change here is, yes, he is now immune to Ki Blasts while doing it. Not immune to full-on projectiles, but yes, immune to Ki Blasts. And the thing is, the one thing maybe you don't think about necessarily fully is this is in all possible situations. So say the main character is not the source of the Ki Blast coming in. You know, it's like a Super Saiyan Vegeta. It's some sort of assist. That Piccolo assist is about to clonk you in the face, right? And you don't want to just super dash because you know, they're waiting for it and they're going to down heavy you and kill you for it. But yeah, so any source of basic Ki Blast, no big deal. But yeah, he can go through these pretty easily. He does not have to be the main character as the source of the Ki Blast. So anything that counts as a Ki Blast, a weaker style projectile, anything that's not a full-on beam, Jiren, he does not have to play that game. He can just go right through it, and there you go. If the move's completed, the protective frames run out. So as you can see here, I get hit at the very end of that, but still, whatever, it works out. And of course, being a Ki Blast, it's special cancelable, so if you're using it as a defensive move, you can cancel into that new and improved Infinity Rush, which is safe on block, or you can go into Grand Charge, which also has more range, by the way, now. So, like, something roughly around here, it can hit now when it definitely couldn't before. So, a lot more useful in that regard. So, that's to give you an idea of Jiren's changes in Season 3.5 of Dragon Ball FighterZ, beyond just, yeah, counter impact's crazy now, in that it gets literally everything but supers. There's more stuff, too, like the downlight being insanely buffed. We went over a little bit in the video. I went over it even more in the visual guide to the patch changes. If you want to see that video, please check out the end of this video. There'll be a link to it. But yeah, so Jiren, he got like the big sledgehammer buff in this, so like that's definitely a very, very big buff. But yeah, he just got a nice quality of life change. He definitely isn't debatably the worst character anymore, that's for sure. We'll wait and see how things pan out for tiers, all that kind of stuff. But I can definitely tell you right now, Jiren is not a bad character anymore. Jiren works. If you want to use Jiren, don't feel bad about it, because he's got the toolbox to work with now. He has what he needs to win matches. So with that all said, that is your look at Season 3.5 Jiren, and a bit more under the hood with some of the bigger changes that aren't getting us talked about as much. And that's it for this video. So hey, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.
This is the love we